Good evening and Happy New Year. I get to say Happy New Year because it's my first show for the year. You guys are my first guests for the year, so welcome to Radio Cayman Sports Extra. How are you? Very good. Okay, awesome. So welcome to Radio Cayman Sports Extra. I'm your host, DIONNE Anglin. Of course, tonight on Sports Extra, we will be chatting with Cayman Islands Golf Association President, Mr. Dan Fortune. And I know you've been hearing the news all week, last week and this week about, well, we've just started, I guess, for this week. But last week we've been hearing all about Justin Hastings and his win at the LAC, right? So this is huge news for the Cayman Islands. And now we have the Cayman Islands Golf Association on Radio Cayman Sports Extra. We also have Mr. Rich Hastings, and that's Justin's dad. You were also his caddy, right?
For this event, yeah.
Yeah, for this particular event, when he won the Latin America. You may hear us refer to it as LAC, but it's the Latin America Amateur Championships, which was held in Argentina this year. So, welcome, gentlemen. Good evening to you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. In the second segment, we will hear from Mr. Loxley Banks and Mr. Ralston Anglin as we talk the Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles. Which one's your teams?
New York Jets is my team, unfortunately.
They don't
my
count.
sins.
They don't count. Well, guess what? The 59th Super Bowl NFL Final is this Sunday at the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. So we'll be chatting about the Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles right after this golf segment. So we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with more Sports Extra in a minute. Stay tuned.
The Business Buzz, each and every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 7:30 a.m. Brought to you by
Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services.
And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice.
The Cayman Islands Fire Service will be commencing comprehensive fire safety inspections across all public occupancy buildings. These inspections are in accordance with the Fire Safety Code and are critical in maintaining a safe environment. We appreciate the cooperation of all business owners, property managers, and the general public in this important initiative. Together, we can prevent fire-related incidents and enhance the overall safety of our community. For more information on the Fire Safety Code and what to expect during the inspections, please contact the Cayman Islands Fire Service Fire Prevention Unit at 949-2499 or email us at firesafetyinspections@gov.ky.
This is the People's Radio Station. Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
All right, welcome back to Radio Cayman Sports Extra. If you're just tuning in, we're here with the Cayman Islands Golf Association President, Mr. Dan Fortune, and we have the father of Justin Hastings, who recently won the LAC Championship in Argentina. We have Mr. Rich Hastings. Good evening once again, and we're here to talk about what's happening with golf in the Cayman Islands, of course, and Justin's recent success, right? So we're going to start with that. If you guys can just share, where were you? Well, I know where you were. You were the caddy. Where were you when he won?
I was actually at North Sound Golf Course at the time. I was at the event in Panama last year.
Yes.
I would have loved to have gone to Argentina this time, but just a little bit too far in a busy time for me at work personally. But there was great drama. It sort of wasn't really properly on the television here. So we were all kind of watching it on phones.
From your phones, yeah.
And the funny thing was, different people were watching it at different times. You know, some people were ahead of others. So some people would see a putt drop and there'd be a roar, and then others would then, about 10 seconds later, roar as well. Yes. And so it was great fun altogether now to see it.
And how does this recent victory impact the Cayman Islands' presence on the international golf stage, you think?
So there's only been one country in the Caribbean region that has won the Latin American Amateur, and that is the Cayman Islands. And not only have we won it once, but we've now actually won it twice.
It's amazing.
Amazing doesn't even do it justice, to be perfectly honest. from an island that has 1.5 golf courses, not
Yes.
even a whole number.
So true.
It's a stunning achievement. Obviously, Justin has been, in university at San Diego State now for the last 3.5 years. So, he's got a few more golf courses at his disposal there. But still, no, it's an exceptional achievement. There's some of the larger countries in Latin America, in South America, like Brazil, have never won this
Right,
event.
Exactly, yeah.
And this was the 10th anniversary of it. Back to where it originally began in Argentina. So a bit of a marquee win as well.
I'm so proud of him. Just sports in general in the Cayman Islands, like we were discussing off the air with, these athletes, our young athletes, keeping us on the map and keeping our names in the mouths of people all over the world, right? So we have Justin with golf, and then we have Jordan Crooks with swimming, and I think that's huge for our country in itself with 80,000 people. That's amazing. Dad, Mr. Rich, what was it like to witness your son's victory?
It was incredible. I mean, it was really emotional, but you kind of you're just so focused, and he was so focused. I mean, I have to say I was emotional on the back nine. I was quite stressed.
Yeah.
But he kind of brought both of us back into focus a couple of times, and so that would probably describe it.
How exactly did you support him throughout the tournament, both emotionally and strategically, I'd say?
Well, I mean, I keep my mouth shut for the most part.
Yeah.
It's a
That's
fine
why you're
balance.
so stressed.
Yeah, well, and plus there's a balance between being a caddy and also being a dad. You can
of
really
course.
irritate your kids if sometimes when you say something. So
Gotcha.
I basically
I
keep my
understand
mouth
that.
shut. I try to keep him laughing in
Yeah.
between shots, things like that. Really, just hopefully keep him from thinking about some things that can creep into your mind.
Was this like a very proud moment for you in your life, you think?
Oh yeah, incredible. I
incredible.
still wake up every day thinking like, oh, cool, that did happen.
Do you call Mr. Jarvis and this is how you felt?
Well, he was there, so
Yeah, he was there as
we
well.
had
Okay.
a good chat after, and of course both Jarvis boys were there, so
Yeah.
so it was a full.
Oh man, that
celebration.
must have been amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's definitely. Can you share like a memorable moment or challenges you faced throughout that tournament with him?
Well, I think he mentioned earlier today on his interview the weather delay. So I think
Yes.
that was challenging. I mean, one thing he didn't have to do was sleep on the lead. So
Okay.
that was probably in his favor. So
Right.
he didn't have to go to bed with a 4-shot lead. He went right back out on the course. So I think that was beneficial for him. Having said that, it was stressful coming down the stretch.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to say we never had a doubt, but
Yeah.
negative thoughts always.
No
creep into
doubts
your mind.
anymore.
No,
This is two now.
no, it's happened. Yeah.
Yeah, it can happen again, and we're looking forward to more. Right, and what does this victory mean for you and your family, and of course, how do you celebrate these achievements?
Well, we're just also happy and proud of him. For my wife, I mean, within probably 8 hours, she was planning the travel, coordinating
Of
the
course,
clothing, acting as his agent, his travel agent, his mom. So there's a lot. I mean, she's literally been working, night and day, arranging Airbnbs and organizing, guests and things like that ever since this happened. So, but yeah, it's just we're really proud of him.
Awesome. I know you mentioned earlier about balancing daddy versus caddy,
Yeah.
right? So how did you balance the roles of being that supportive parent and a caddy during high pressure moments?
Well, I think I just try to say positive things and just be supportive and I don't really offer advice until I'm asked for it. Whereas, a regular caddy would probably discuss every shot. I'm just sort of along for the ride, just hauling the bag around.
Okay, gotcha. But can you describe? I didn't get a chance to talk to him about this, and I'm sure I will later on. But can you describe the preparation and training regimen that Justin follows leading up to major tournaments like this?
Yeah, his training regimen doesn't really change that much.
Okay.
You know, leading up to a tournament, it's just constant go, go, go. I
Yeah.
mean, he's got all of his classes to go to and take care of, but they are literally like everyday workouts every day at the golf course. So probably, I would guess, at least 5-6 hours a day, just preparation for the next tournament. And then, of course, you know, during the tournament, it's, you know, maybe a morning workout, and, you know, you got to make sure you eat right. And then,
Yeah, I was going to get to that. But
yeah.
if diet plays a key role in tournaments like this, and now he's going on to several major tournaments, what's his diet going to have to be like?
Well, you know, he just eats a generally
Okay.
balanced diet and watches what he eats. But, you know, in golf, it's important to keep your sort of blood sugar levels up. You know,
Right.
it's something to eat during the round. Of course, staying hydrated is a big deal as well. And sometimes it's even good to eat just to sort of keep yourself busy and during the quiet periods.
Awesome. And Mr. Dan, we have not forgotten you. What initiatives are being taken by the Cayman Islands Golf Association to support and develop other young talents like Justin in Cayman Golf?
Yeah, so this year, I mean, we're looking at trying to put together, you know, quite a decent program for our junior team,
Nice.
you know, from the elite level. But also an element of that will be trying to get to I suppose the local schools as well. You know, because there could be a next, you know, very, very good golfer in there that just hasn't had the opportunity to, you know, pick up a club and have a go at it. So we're going to try and, you know, provide that opportunity, you know, to those potential players, and see how that goes. So yeah, you know, plenty of initiatives going forward, and I think hopefully off the back of you know, the exposure from, you know, within the media that we've had following, you know, Justin's win, and, you know, there will be certainly plenty of more, you know, Colin Minch's, you know, leading up to the Masters as well. You know, we can, you know, sort of piggyback off the back of that as well, hopefully.
And I know I mentioned to you in our interview previously about Holly McLean, and you were telling me that there's a women's tournament as well.
Yes.
And they've recently developed that tournament.
Yeah, so that's effectively it's not as sort of old as the Latin America. Not that the Latin America is an old tournament, because, as I say, you know, this
10th,
last
right?
event was only the 10th version of it. But there is a ladies event, the Women's Amateur Latin America. It's you know, sort of the prizes from it are not quite as great just yet. So it's still developing. Holly played in it in 2023.
Okay.
I think she had a top 10 in that event. You know, there was only 2 players actually from the Caribbean that played in that edition, and she was the top finishing player from the Caribbean. You know, she's recently transferred universities as well. So
Where is she now?
she is at University South Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where was she before, if you don't mind me asking?
She was at Oklahoma,
Oklahoma
before
State.
that.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, hopefully that provides you know, a lease of, you know, new lease of life for her to develop further, and you know, make further appearances in the WALA, you know, the Women's Amateur Latin America.
She's next.
Mm.
I'm calling it.
Well, yeah, potentially. I mean,
man,
definitely a potential next, you know, winner of something like that. You know, she's shown, you know, a huge potential. You know, certainly within the region as well, within the Caribbean Amateur Golf Championship, the Caribbean Amateur Junior. You know, she's had some very, very good success. So yeah, we would definitely be very, very hopeful with Holly. All right.
Amateur league. When do they leave the amateur league and go on to professional? Is there a particular time, or is that a decision that they make for themselves?
That would be more a decision that they make
That
for
they make for
themselves.
themselves.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And is Justin looking at anything anytime close, or is he? How long
Well,
do you think he's going to be an amateur?
Probably the Sunday of the of the Open, he'll turn pro.
Right.
Provided he stays in the top 25 Division 1 golfers in the senior class this year, he'll earn himself some sort of status on a pro tour. So, the number one player gets a PGA card, like the major leagues. 2 through 10 get a Korn Ferry Tour card for 1 year, and 11 through 25 get a PGA Tour Americas card. So right now he's ranked 20th, but I think with his performance last weekend, he might go up a few spots, and we'll have to see where he lands after the NCAA playoffs at the end of May. But he will delay going pro in order to play in the Open and the U.S. Open, because you have to remain an amateur.
Okay, throughout this process.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about Aaron? Is he still an amateur, or did he move on?
Yeah. So Aaron is still an amateur. He was actually playing a college event in Mexico this past week, which actually only finished today, and showed some signs of form down there as well. So. That's encouraging as well. He's in his final year of university as well, so we'll see what his decisions are at the end of that.
I've been reading about there's a lot of more money being poured into golf because of the Saudi Arabia league. Have you guys familiar with what's going on over there? And can you share a little bit more information with me?
So it's about 3 or 4 years ago now, there was the Live Golf League or Tour that was set up. Just a whole load of money coming in from the Saudi Arabian investment fund, public investment fund, and it managed to attract initially some high-profile players from the PGA Tour. There was, I suppose, quite a decent split between the PGA Tour and the Live Tour over the past number of years. Then, sort of little by little, they've been, plucking some players from the PGA Tour. I suppose the biggest name of late would probably have been John Rahm, who moved just over a year ago. So. It has created a little bit of a divide. Not a little bit, quite a divide, I should say, between the in the pro ranks, and it basically means that these days the only times we actually really do get to see all of the top players playing together are in the 4 majors. During the rest of the time, the Live guys play on the Live Tour and maybe play a European Tour event or an Asian Tour event. Whereas the PGA Tour guys stick to the PGA Tour, so you have that divide. So it's rare enough now that you'll get to see all the top players playing together in the best events.
And that's crazy. And I read where there is like medium ranked players are getting like $100 million. Yeah. There's medium ranked 100 million.
There's
maybe not medium.
There's been big money thrown around, like frankly ridiculous money thrown around. And in golf in general of late, it's also forced the PGA Tour to respond by increasing their purses, because obviously they want to hold on to all of their best players as well. Money has become quite a dominant factor, to the point where even the American team are going to get paid to play in the Ryder Cup now later on this year as well. So, which previously that had never happened. So there are when you talk about the Live Tour, there has been a lot of money spent on sometimes maybe not always the greatest players, and they get a lot of money up front, and sometimes then when they go across there, they're maybe the ambition just isn't quite as high as it was, because they've effectively made their money already.
Yeah, I guess it's what's happening in most sports around the world now, right? Like the WNBA now, a lot of money is being passed through there, and women's soccer as well, which is pretty cool for women because we suffered over the years. So it's really good to see. How is excuse my ignorance, but how is women's golf around the region?
I would say it's reasonably strong. developing though. Probably not quite as many Well, there's a couple of sort of. I think there's a couple of Mexican professionals, but there maybe wouldn't be too many others that I can think of off the top of my head from the sort of Latin American region. That are.
But women's PGA is top ranking, right?
So the LPGA
Okay.
it would be effectively your ladies version of
Okay.
the PGA Tour. So that's the the elite on the ladies side of the game. That has been attracting an awful lot more interest of late as well. There's a lot more money going into
Yes.
that too. I think. There's the certain new prizes
Right.
there. I probably have to shout out Aon for their risk reward challenge as well, where they were one of the first companies to offer a similar prize. Well, not a similar, an identical prize on both the PGA Tour and the LPGA Tour of $1 million over the course of a season to an individual winner. So. Yeah, there's a lot more money going into the ladies' game as well, and it's it's a very, very good spectacle as well. I think a lot of the male players male amateur players, I think can identify a little bit more, because I think some of the distances that the male pros hit the ball are it's like a different game altogether. Whereas the female pros can sometimes hit the ball kind of similar kind of distances to good amateur players. So
What was the name? The lady that won this weekend? It was a Kim Woong?
Ailim Kim.
Ailing Kim.
Yes.
Oh yeah, she was very good actually.
Yeah. I mean, their talents are exceptional as well. Yeah. And it's a slightly different skill set, given the distances that they would hit the ball. Sometimes they can be probably more consistent with some of the longer irons, because a lot of the time, the top level male pros, second shots into par fours, it's just wedges, whereas the ladies are probably a lot more astute with some of the longer irons.
Do they play on the same courses, the same distances?
They would not play. They wouldn't. They wouldn't play the same distances.
Okay.
But sometimes they will play the same courses. So, for example, the Open Championship last year on the ladies' side was held at St Andrews.
Okay.
St Andrews will host the men's Open Championship in 2027.
Okay.
Pinehurst number 2 has done the men's and the ladies U.S. Open. They did it in back-to-back weeks actually in 2014. Definitely the courses can be used for both. Setups will differ as well though.
Awesome. Okay. And Mr. Hastings, we're going to go to you now. We leave the international stuff for later. I just wanted to get some knowledge on it. But how has Justin's journey in golf, you'd say, impacted your family's life and dynamics?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely impacted us financially.
Yeah,
I mean,
because it's a very expensive sport, huh?
There's plenty of trips to take. I mean, every summer since he was probably, I don't know, maybe like 12 years
11?
old.
Yeah.
11 or 12. We would probably go to 4 or 5 tournaments in the U.S. And then maybe a couple of times even during school. So probably
How old is he now?
He's 21.
21. I remember when he was 11.
Yeah.
His first time coming in here,
Yeah.
along with Aaron and Andrew.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very long time ago.
I think I was here.
Yeah, you might have been.
Yeah. So, I mean, but I don't really think about the financial part
Yeah.
that much. I mean, it's been an incredible experience. He's matured so much along the way, and he's, golf is, I think, a good training ground for life. I mean, you get out of it what you put into it, and it requires a lot of discipline and I suppose control, and so it's been a great experience.
What are some of the key qualities and strengths you believe contributed to Justin's success 2 weeks ago?
Well, I mean, his game has improved steadily, I think, since he was a junior, and that doesn't always happen. A lot of kids peak, when they're 16 to 18, and then they get into university, and it's difficult to make a team.
Right.
And he learned a lot in his freshman season. He learned to play the game a little bit differently, and it took him a while to break through. So it was, I think, a good experience, one that he needed to go through, and he's, I think, steadily improved. So I would say his game, but also his temperament. I mean, he's very level-headed and very sensible and humble, and I think that helps.
I see where he gets it from. You're the same. I don't know Mom, but based on what I'm seeing here, yes, you're most likely where he got that from. And Mr. Dan, could you tell us how do you see the future of golf in the Cayman Islands evolving over the next few years, you'd say?
Yeah, so I suppose it's going to be potentially quite different. We've last number of years, obviously, we've had some top amateur players.
Yes.
Who obviously Justin included, who will no longer be amateur. So the golf scene in Cayman will be a little bit different, but it will also hopefully have somebody that we can all look up to, potentially on a more international scene. We're obviously working very hard to try and find the next Justin, the next Aaron, the next top player, next Holly. We've got as I say, great support from some of our sponsors. With that, Grant Thornton have been a huge sponsor for us and supporter over the last number of years. And without that, kind of assistance, what we do would be very, very difficult. So that has to be kind of called out as well. But I think the challenge definitely is to sort of try and find the next top player, try and provide as much assistance to our young players to develop as well. What we also what we do with the Golf Association with SIGA is what we also have to cater for all our kind of regular members, if you like, the likes of Rich and myself, who are not probably going to be making it as professional golfers at this stage of our career.
Never say never.
Never say never, but we might just say never. So there's a so while we do try and focus and put resources into our elite players, that our elite juniors as well. There is a large kind of general SIGA population as well, and we do our best to try and cater to all of those as well, with the various different competitions and services that we provide as well. So it'll be a challenging next few years, I think, and but certainly a few years to look forward to, I think.
Before we head out, we hear of the 4 names in golf, Cayman golf, very regular: Holly, Andrew, Aaron, Justin. Give me some other golfers that you see, because you're looking to develop some more. What are some of the names off the top of your head?
Yeah, so I suppose from a junior perspective, the next ones coming through would probably be the likes of Danny DeQuintal. I would say probably Luke Dodson as well. Luke is over in Albany right now, in the Bahamas. He won the Junior British Open, his division of it, in the summer, actually. So there's potential there as well.
His brother, Matthew.
Yes,
is a very
exactly.
good young player.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're not devoid of talent coming through after our top players. So whether they can make the step up and be quite as good is a completely different kettle of fish now. But there's potential there, and hope for the future.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, gentlemen, so much for stopping by. I appreciate you. Before we head out, any words of encouragement for our young golfers out there, especially you as a father to Justin, someone who just won the LAC? Maybe you have some advice that you'd like to share to a young golfer that's seeing that.
I don't know. I mean, just try to enjoy practice, because golf is so much more practice than actual playing.
Yeah.
Develop your talents in a broad spectrum of golf shots, and just try to enjoy the grind, I suppose.
Yeah. Awesome. That's it. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. Stay tuned. We have we're going to talk the Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl this weekend. Stay tuned for more Sports Extra in a minute.
The Lions Club of Grand Cayman invites golfers to kick off the new year with their annual Golf Scramble, taking place on Friday, February 7th at the beautiful North Sound Golf Club. Tee off with a 12:30 p.m. shotgun start and enjoy a range of exciting competition on the course. It's the perfect opportunity for companies to bring their teams together for some fun and team building while supporting a great cause. Event, hole, and team sponsors are also available for businesses looking to make an impact. So grab your colleagues, friends, or golf buddies and make it a day to remember. For more details or to secure your spot, contact LCIF coordinator at lionsclubgcm.ky today. Let's tee up for a fantastic 2025 and make this event a hole-in-one for our community.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Hi, I'm Deputy Governor Franz Manderson, and I'm excited to announce the DG's 5K Challenge is just around the corner. We kick off things in Little Cayman on March 9th, followed by Cayman Brac on March 16th, and the grand finale on Grand Cayman on March 30th. This year, we're supporting the Cayman Islands Girls Brigade, the Cayman Islands Scouts Association, and the One-to-One Foundation, each helping to shape our next generation. Join us in making a positive impact. For registration details, find us on Facebook at DG's 5K Challenge.
The Business Buzz. Each and every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 7:30 a.m. Brought to you by
Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services.
And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice.
If they are talking about us,
living in your head rent-free all this time.
we must be relevant. Radio Cayman since 1976.
Alrighty, welcome back to Radio Cayman Sports Extra. A special thank you for the Cayman Islands Golf Association for stopping by. But now we're discussing Super Bowl action. This Sunday it's going to go down in New Orleans. Kansas City Chiefs, a repeat of last year's finals, right? Was it last year? Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles?
The year before.
Year before? Okay, so it was a repeat of the year before. Who you got, Mr. Banks? We have Loxley Banks in the studio with us. Who you got? I don't want to know who your team is. Who you think is going to win?
Well, I would say Kansas City because with their defense and,
Mahomes, yeah, Patrick.
Yep.
Yeah.
With the ball in his hands,
Oh, I know. He's genius. He's genius. We got JJ the Iceman on the mic with us. He's, when it comes to football, you'll be surprised how much people I can get in the studio to chat with me. If I was having an NBA discussion, it'll just be me by myself, but it's NFL. So JJ the Iceman is on board with us.
Well,
You yourself and I.
Who you got, JJ?
I'm going to root for the underdogs, the Eagles.
Me too. I like the Eagles, but go ahead.
Well, the Eagles, I think, stands a good chance because they've got a running game that, second to none, and it could just be a watershed game for Barkley.
Yeah, most likely. I mean, you know what? So if you're just tuning in, if you don't know much about what's happening with the NFL and the Super Bowl coming up, which is highly unlikely, but there are a few people who may not, right? So there are key players: Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, and Isaiah Pacheco. Is his name Pacheco? All right. So season highlights for the Chiefs. Chiefs had another strong season, right? Securing their spot in the Super Bowl, of course, for the third consecutive time. Can they win back to back to back? We will see on Sunday. They'll be the first time in history if they do that. If they win, back to back.
No.
Right?
There was, I think, there were some other teams that won back to back.
No, that's not
not a three-peat.
Not a three-peat.
It's a three-peat.
This would be a three-peat.
This would be a three-peat. The first three-peat.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Right. So they overcame early season injuries, right, and made key acquisitions like DeAndre Hopkins. Right, so playoff performance. The Chiefs have been dominant in the playoffs, showcasing Mahomes' exceptional playmaking abilities and Kelsey's receiving skills.
There's also controversy because the news on the internet is that over the last few years, referees have been calling a lot of calls for the Kansas City Chiefs, including during the playoffs, that has made a difference in how they get where they get. So that is, you've never seen a controversy like that except for maybe back in the day when they were baseball players like Pete Rose was allegedly being paid to bet on games.
Bet on games, yeah.
So for referees to
make
a difference in the game,
yeah.
it's kind of shady.
Or you go back to the college national championship game between the University of Miami and the Ohio State Buckeyes, and I guess if Raleigh's listening, you remember that late call?
Don't torture that man.
Raleigh should be on his way here.
He better be on his way to defend himself. All right. And then for the Philadelphia Eagles, we have Jalen Hurts, who's had a superb season this year. It's Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, and Devonta Smith. Right, so that's been really huge for them. They've been really huge for the Eagles. The Eagles bounced back from their Super Bowl loss to the Chiefs the season before, finishing the regular season with 14 wins. So they set a record for most points in a conference title game with their 55-23 victory over the Washington Commanders. And for playoff performance, the Eagles have been, of course, impressive. That's why they've gotten so far, of course, with Hurts leading a balanced offense and Barkley providing a strong rushing attack, I should say.
I believe Hurts was a former Ohio State quarterback.
Yeah.
No.
Yes. Yeah. Is that your team?
No.
Okay.
Yes, Raleigh and I have a.
So what? Remind me what your team. People take these things very seriously.
He's a Florida Hurricane.
Hurricane.
Miami Hurricane.
Miami Hurricane. He says, get it right.
Versus
Miami.
Versus the football team that just won something the other day. I can't remember who they are, but the other guy that's supposed to be in the studio, he knows.
He knows. So what do you guys think has been the key to the Chiefs' success this season?
Well, I think anytime you talk about the Chiefs, you got to talk about their defensive coach.
Definitely.
I think, what's his name, JJ?
I can't remember it this time.
And I don't know.
Yeah. Well, he's a very good defensive coach. And, of course, Mahoney's, it's anytime you put the football in Mahomes' hands, then, you've got a chance to win.
And he's such a dangerous player because he can also run. And when you have a quarterback that's light on their feet and make plays happen,
Well, on the other side, you also got Hurts. He's a good runner.
Steve Spagnuolo?
Spagnuolo, yeah. That's the guy's name.
Defensive coach. Yeah. Okay. All right, yeah. Yeah, he's really light on his feet. And that's the beauty about a quarterback, a really good quarterback, right? Not just that arm that he has that he can throw, but if he can run, like you say, if he's very light on his feet, he's going to catch a lot of people.
Well,
and I think that's what that's his strength.
I think another aspect of Mahomes is that he must have what you call really great peripheral
vision. Oh, yes. Excellent peripheral vision.
And he's very
he sees the floor.
Improvisational.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
so true.
During the preseason, he threw a pass left-handed.
Right.
He just handed around his back to his left hand and threw it to Kelsey.
He was a basketball player,
Yes.
Yeah, he was a basketball player. I had to stick that in there. How do you guys see the Eagles' offense matching up against the Chiefs' defense?
Well, I think it's going to be a really tough game because they both have good defenses and they both have good offenses. So, it's going to probably come down to maybe, as JJ mentioned, a call that a lot of people would disagree with, or
especially if the ball's overturned or something that leads to a touchdown.
But you know what? The referees, since there's this big controversy now, all eyes are on the referees for this Super Bowl.
Yes,
so they're going to be very careful.
Yes.
But I think, Dion, you hit the nail on the head right there. It's going to be the defense of the Kansas City Chiefs that's going to make the difference.
Yeah.
Whether they'll shut the Eagles down.
Eagles down, yeah. I think so too, definitely. And can Jalen Hurts replicate his Super Bowl 57 performance, or do you expect something different this time around?
Well, I think he will have actually 2 years of experience on his belt. And I saw him on the tube yesterday, and he seemed to be very, very confident. He seemed to be loose, and it's one of the biggest football games, I guess, of the season.
Yeah.
It's on a world stage, and you got to have some butterflies. And I guess if you don't have butterflies when you step on that field, then you might as well just stay on the sideline.
Have any of you ever been to a Super Bowl live and direct?
I've never been to a Super Bowl. No. I've seen most of them except for maybe the 70 when I came back home in 75. So it would have been 76.
Yeah. You've seen just regular season games?
Well, no,
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl game.
Okay.
I mean,
JJ?
I don't have that kind of money.
Yeah. That's what I was leading to next. And I saw the prices of the tickets. I was like, oh no, I will never be able to afford. Well, you know what? Never say never.
Every year it gets to the stratosphere, and this is the 59th time they're doing this.
Yes.
I watch television. I see Joe Namath doing commercials, and it's amazing to think. I believe his Jets were in the first one way back in the 60s.
No, the third one.
The third one.
Yeah. Okay.
What, 69 or something like that? Way back in 1969, I believe. And he's still on television.
He's checking his records.
He's still on television.
Yeah.
Making those commercials today in 2025. That's amazing.
Third Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You mentioned the ticket prices. The average $8,000.
Yeah.
And some of them as high as $14,000.
Yeah.
And the sideline there, one of the Chiefs' biggest cheerleaders, who is it? Taylor Swift.
She probably doesn't pay.
Yeah, and you know what? She's the one that should be paying because she has making more money than everybody else. And imagine, and he's absolutely right. She'll probably be that one coming in for free, right?
Yes. Well, she got a box. What do you call it?
Yeah, the sky box.
Owner's sky box.
The owner's sky box.
Well, being the girlfriend of one of the
Travis, right?
There.
So speaking of, I was just about to say, speaking of Taylor Swift, what impact do you think Travis Kelce has had on the Chiefs' offense this season?
Well, he's had a great influence on the offense ever since Hill, the speedster that they had, was traded to Tampa 2 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, and Kelce has stepped up his game, and Kelce, I think, is Mahomes' favorite.
Go-to man.
Go-to man, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I don't know much about the Saquon Barkley's presence. Do you think it will change the Eagles' game plan?
You mean the Chiefs' game plan?
Well, no.
Well, the Eagles. Well, I think this is his first year with the Eagles because he was traded from New York to the Philadelphia Eagles. No, I I don't think they're going to have to run him, and they will run him.
Yeah.
You know.
All right.
I mean, I think he holds the record this year for yardage from scrimmage.
Right.
You know, through the season. So and he's a very agile runner. You know. I don't know if many years ago the Florida Rattlers, that was the Florida A&M University, had an old coach that he was asked one time by, I think it was Morris McLemore, of the old Miami newspaper, right. Who, there was a Biden from Cayman that worked for a long time for the Miami News. Mm-hmm. But anyway, McLemore asked the coach, can't recall the coach of the, anyway, he said, what do you look for when you're recruiting players? He said, well, they got to be agile, hostile, and mobile.
Yeah. All aisles.
All aisles, yeah.
I like that.
Jake Gaither was the name of the coach.
Okay. All right. We're going to take
and of course, he coached such guys as Robert Hayes, who held the 100-meter record on the Olympics for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was a big star with the Dallas Cowboys.
Look at that, huh?
Yeah.
Two different sports, and excelled at both, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. We're going to take a short break, but when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit. We're going to make our predictions on what you think the final score would be come Sunday. All right. Stay tuned for more Sports Extra in a minute.
Looking for better health insurance? It's time to level up to BAF Insurance. BAF offers quality, flexible health plans for you, your family, and your entire work group with friendly professional service. So, if your current health plan is less than you expected, then make that call today. At BAF, we will help you find a plan that's just right for you. Give us a call at 949-5089 and level up to BAF.
Shipping to the Cayman Islands is fast, reliable, and seamless thanks to Cayman Airways Cargo. Need it faster than ocean freight? Cayman Airways Cargo offers multiple cargo flights to Grand Cayman from Miami weekly, so your packages, whether big, small, or in between, will arrive in no time. You can even use a Cayman Airways Cargo US address for your online shopping. Cayman Airways Cargo is also the only carrier providing air freight services for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Contact us today and see why Cayman Airways Cargo was voted as Cayman's best cargo and logistics company in the Best of Cayman Awards. For details, visit caymanairways.com/cargo.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
All right, welcome back to Radio Cayman Sports Extra. I'm here with Mr. Loxley Banks and JJ the Iceman, and we're discussing Super Bowl 59, and it's this Sunday in New Orleans, Kansas City Chiefs versus Philadelphia Eagles. And we're about to make our predictions, so gentlemen.
Before we get to that, let's talk about what a lot of people around the world do on Super Bowl Sunday.
Okay.
Besides all the tailgate parties and the barbecue and down at the sports bar with the
Taylor
big
Swift's,
screen TV, it's about the halftime show.
Of course.
And it's about those $1 million per
commercials.
30-second commercial or more. Rumor is that Ben Affleck is going to be back for his Dunkin' Donuts bit in one of the commercials. And last year he was paid $10 million for a 30-second spot. And I think the year before is Arnold Schwarzenegger. He'll be back. You remember?
Yeah.
Well, the game even took a very, I wouldn't call it a serious political twist here just over the last couple of days. Because, with the tariffs, that's been a big talk, in the news,
right.
Early tariffs. Chuck Schumer, what is he JJ.
One of the leading Democrats.
No, he's not he's not leader of the Senate now, but he's a
senator.
Yeah, a
right?
senator.
I think Jeffries is number one now. Akeem Jeffries.
No, Jeffries is in his Congress. Anyway,
Senator Schumer.
Yeah, Schumer held up a can of Corona and an avocado in the other hand, and said, "You know, the tariffs are going to affect the Super Bowl. Take a look at this. This will cost you more. And where do you think the guacamole comes from? It comes from these avocados." So,
well, now it's a 30-day pause, so that's all out the window.
Well,
price of avocados and Corona stays the same.
That's right, but he did this before the pause came.
Okay.
Or just about when it was happening. Yeah.
I believe it was yesterday. I think he did it.
Yes.
Who was this year's Super Bowl halftime performer again? I forgot his name.
I have no idea.
Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, he's from New Orleans.
I remember.
So Mr. Banks knows the name and I didn't. Jeez.
Prince's
Mr.
show.
Banks, he just showed me up.
Remember Prince's big show in the rain?
Yes. Oh, I remember that. That was a beautiful performance.
Well, I think Kendrick just.
That's the year everyone was saying that Prince is such a diva, and then he came out and performed in the rain, and shocked everyone. That was beautiful.
Last Sunday, 2 days ago, he was a big winner at the Grammys.
Mm-hmm. Kendrick Lamar. Yeah, it's pretty good. And there was a huge backlash about that, about him performing there versus who was it again? Yeah, I guess I shouldn't go into something I can't remember the guy's name, but it was a huge backlash because they felt like was it Snoop? Somebody should have performed there more than I guess before Kendrick Lamar did, but that's who the fans wanted, right? The fans wanted Kendrick Lamar to perform, so that's where he'd be. So it's 7:52 right now, and I want to get into predictions and for the final score of the Super Bowl this Sunday. So we're going to start with you, Mr. Banks.
Well, looking at everything at ground level, I think that Kansas City will pull it out. Probably maybe by a field goal, 3 points.
3 points. Jared, JJ?
Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm going to go with the Eagles, and I'm going to actually give a number. 27 to 21 over the Chiefs.
Okay. All right. And I have 21 over 7, and I'm giving it to the Eagles. I'm switching it up. It's going to be an intense matchup.
21-7.
7.
Wow.
Eagles.
So
their defense. I'm betting on their defense.
So she's basically saying that they're going to be shutting down the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes.
Well, if they can, not many teams have been able to do it except Tampa. Tampa shut them down when they played Tampa.
That's true. When they were in Tampa.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember that. That was a very good game. Was that the game where they were on top at first, and then in the last couple of minutes the team took over?
Yes.
That was a beautiful game.
And they had Tyreek Hill still with them.
Tyreek Hill. He was definitely.
And that game swung on a defensive philosophy, in that the Tampa Bay coach said, we are going to cover Tyreek Hill. And Tyreek Hill was almost
smothered.
Smothered. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I remember that. That's pretty cool. And I guess it's far-fetched, but which player do you think will, be the Super Bowl MVP and why?
Well, I think Barkley, if Philadelphia wins, and he could even be the MVP if Philadelphia don't win, because I think if he has a really good game, and he could have a really, as I said, watershed game, and they could still lose with Mahomes with the ball in his hands on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to probably go to a running back or a wide receiver this year. Every year, some of the quarterbacks, they get all the glory. And this year, it's the former big guy for the Bills, Mr. Tom Brady, is going to be actually in the booth calling the shots, and Mahomes has said that this is going to be interesting because he did play against him in
Exactly.
previous Super Bowls.
Yeah. That's going to be very interesting. However, we also had some other great contending teams in the NFL this season. We had the Buffalo Bills, right? And the Bills had a strong season, finishing with a 13-4 record and securing the top spot in the AFC East.
And controversial calls against them.
Yes. Josh Allen's leadership and explosive offense were key factors in their success throughout the season. And then you have the Baltimore Ravens. All right. So the Ravens finished with a 12-5 record, showcasing a balanced attack with Lamar Jackson's dynamic playmaking abilities and a solid defense. He's known for that. Yeah. What about the Cincinnati Bengals?
Well, they've been kind of mediocre.
They've had a few challenges
over the last couple of years, and I think their quarterback has not really been up to par.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow, yeah, he had a real serious injury, and he's, I guess, was the second year of his career, and I'm not sure that he's quite recovered from that. But the Washington, I want to say Redskins, but it's the Washington Commanders now. They had a super year with their rookie quarterback. What was his name? JJ?
I can't recall, but we don't know what's happening in the world. Maybe names will get reverted. Mount McKinley, Gulf of America. Who knows?
The Washington
Redskins. Well, actually, Commanders, because they changed the name from the Redskins. That's the woke. one of the woke.
Jaden Daniels.
Mm-hmm. He's a rookie.
He's gonna love this. Yeah.
Rookie.
He's a rookie. Yeah. Okay.
And
he started in 2024. Yeah.
Yeah. The draft is coming up, and they're predicting that quite a few of the quarterbacks that's will probably go in the top of the draft will probably start, because years before a quarterback went into the NFL, they usually sat and learned for at least 2 or 3 years behind the whatever established quarterback that the team had.
Yeah.
But now
they just throw them in there.
Yeah. Well, and one of the reasons why that has happened is that I suppose it must have been 20, 30 years ago. The college teams, if a college team recruited someone to play football, they didn't play very much in their first year.
Right.
They didn't play. Well, they had 1 or 2 games, but now, a freshman
can come in and start. Some teams are still a bit old school.
Yeah.
Some teams still make their freshmen sit out, no matter how good they are.
Oh yeah, but there's some that they can't. Yeah. They can't deny.
Yeah.
And
right.
they're the ones that but some of them only play 3 years. But the one that plays the one that takes the full 4-year scholarship are usually the ones that go to the NFL and be started.
And dominate.
Yeah, right away.
Yeah. I guess the coach sees it from practice, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's the experience. I mean, that year, and they are predicting that Ward from the University of Miami will go to Cleveland Browns. I guess it is Cleveland Browns, and he will be the starter already, because he has had. Well, actually, I believe he had 5 years of college football behind him.
Okay, I like that. Thanks for that information. That's good stuff. I know we just spoke about the Bengals and Joe Burrow's impressive performance this season, but another team was Detroit Lions, right? So the Lions had a surprising season where they finished 9-8. They had a record of 9-8 and making a strong push to the playoffs.
Well, I think the thing that really has elevated the Lions is their coach, because if you look at some of the history of the Lions, Matthew Stafford, the quarterback that won Super Bowl or been in 2 Super Bowls, I think, since he was traded from the Lions to LA, and then they had the really great receiver over the years, Calvin. What was his first name? JJ, and then the running back that actually just up at the height of his career, said, I've had enough football.
Yeah.
Barry Sanders.
Yeah. It's a lot on the body.
Yeah.
And the mind.
Yeah.
So it's quite understandable, huh? All right. Thanks so much, Mr. Banks, for joining me. I'll definitely give Mr. Ralston a call. He missed out. I was well prepared for him today.
Okay.
I wonder if Loxley knows which team he's rooting for.
Mr. Ralston?
Yeah.
Do you know which team Mr. Anglin is?
No, I really don't know, because
you don't know? Okay.
We didn't
discuss it?
Yeah.
I bet you he's an Eagles fan.
I believe so.
Yeah. All right, well, that's it for tonight's edition of Sports Extra. Of course, if you would like the opportunity to be featured on our show, please feel free to email me at sportsextrakman@gmail.com. You can check out our Radio Cayman Sports Extra social media pages just to keep up to date with all sporting activities here on Island. Also, our Radio Cayman YouTube channel for tonight's edition of Sports Extra. Mr. Loxley Banks, JJ the Iceman, thank you so much. The Cayman Islands Golf Association, Justin Hastings, congratulations to you. A job well done for putting golf back on the calendar once again after 2 years with Aaron Jarvis first, right? Golf
is taking a lot more prominence out here now.
Yeah, most definitely. So thank you so much for joining us here on Radio Cayman Sports Extra. I'm DIONNE Anglin. Good night and God bless.
Sports Extra. From 7 to 8 p.m., highlights of local sports around the Cayman Islands. Sports Extra.
It's amazing to see the improvement of the team.
Sports Extra, keeping you informed.